Good afternoon. My name is Holly Hughes, and I'm the Chief Marketing Officer at BAI. It's our goal at BAI to provide you with actionable insights that can help you make smart business decisions every day. We do this by providing financial services leaders with powerful tools, meaningful connections, and relevant content, including the insights that will be shared on today's webinar, Rethink Customer Communications, Learn to Personalize Both Message and Medium. Today's webinar, sponsored by Kofax, will explore how customer communication can help you drive additional business and increase loyalty while also improving compliance and organizational efficiency. Before we begin, I'd like to cover just a couple housekeeping items. First, a recording of this webinar will be available shortly after today's session. Each person who is registered for the webinar will receive an email from BAI containing a link to the recording. Also, at the end of the presentation, there will be an email address if you're interested in receiving a copy of the presentation slides. Second, we'll be concluding this webinar with a question and answer period. At any time during the presentation, go ahead and type your questions in the Q&A box on your screen, and then we'll go ahead and address those at the end of the presentation with our speakers. Finally, at the end of today's webinar, you'll see an online evaluation on your screen. Your feedback is really important to BAI as we strive to address the key issues that are impacting the industry and the way that can really help you plan for tomorrow while performing better today. Please take a few minutes to complete that survey when it becomes available. Now it's my pleasure to introduce our speakers for today. Daniel Schmidt, Senior Product Manager of Kofax, is our first presenter, and he's responsible for the marketing plan, marketing requirements, and positioning for various Kofax products such as Customer Communications Manager, Communications Server, Monitor, and several others. Daniel has 17 years of experience in the enterprise software industry and demonstrated success in large and mid-sized enterprises. Jesper Skeppenhausen is a Customer Communications Manager expert and is out in the field guiding organizations as they venture on their digital transformation journey. He has a keen insight in current developments and is a trusted advisor to his clients. He joined Kofax through the acquisition of AI Software, where he was responsible for solving customer communication challenges for numerous organizations worldwide. At this time, I will go ahead and turn our presentation over to Daniel.
Thank you, Holly. Thank you for the introduction. And welcome also from my side to this great webinar. And I'm excited to be here today to talk about customer communications management and share with you how you can even further personalize basically your customer communications in two aspects. One from a message and content perspective, and on the other side from a medium and channel perspective. And what this means, we will see in just a few minutes. So this is what we will cover today. And my name is Daniel Schmidt, as mentioned already, and I'm part of the global product marketing team at Kofax and Lexmark, which is part of the Lexmark team now. And I will start with basically customer communications management, what it is all about, going a little bit through the complexity you might face today already in those customer communication related processes here, and also take a closer look from another perspective. So what are your customers expecting today? And there is definitely some kind of a shift in their expectations going on, which we go through. But I will keep this as brief as possible because we have a very exciting part about use cases and live demo, and I'm glad to have Jesper here on the call with me here as well, who will do really the fancy part and share with you how that can be done, how it looks like. So I think that's quite impressive. And after
Thank you so much, Daniel.
You're welcome. And after that, we will have the Q&A session, as mentioned already, where we try to address as many questions as we can find here on the chat, on the question panel here. So let's get directly started here. So if we go back for a minute, let's say to the drawing board here, then this is a simple representation of how communication works. You can see on the left side the customer, on the right side your organization. And in a simple way, it is about conversation between the customer and your organization. So wouldn't it be great if this works really like that, in that simple way? But I think we all understand that this is now just a sketch from an extremely simplified and ideal world perspective, and there's much more complexity to that. Especially in the customer communications, where we talk about providing information to a customer, we can see that customers have different preferences. Some want to receive their, let's say, bank statements on paper, some want them via email, for example. If a customer has some correspondence with your organization going on, maybe they want to be able to get all the info on their mobile device or be able to track what has been discussed so far in their portal or in your portal. So I guess you can see that already here the complexity starts to deal with different channels and ideally in the preferred way of the customer. So let's think a bit of how you are managing this today and step really into the shoes of your customers, how the communications looks like to them. Is it consistent across the different channels or does it look different? And even going further, I think everyone knows that very well. Most likely your customer is not only dealing with one person or one department of your organization. They might have, for example, different products or services where they have different contact persons too. This can be within your organization, but also if you work with external agents, for example, who work on behalf of your organization. Does it always look the same to the customer, or is there a difference in the channels how you communicate to your customers? So from my personal experience with my bank, for example, I can tell you that depending on the topic I'm dealing with them, I have to deal with at least 3 different people sometimes. One time it is okay to communicate via email. In another case, they need me face to face. Sometimes I can do things via simple phone call, but it never looks the same, and it doesn't really yet look like it's coming from one organization, so one bank. Sometimes the documents are different, and sometimes the look and feel is really different and how it's communicated to me. And it's not only about me, but most likely your customers nowadays have a much higher expectation of what your organization is providing here as well. So keep in mind that mobility, for example, is a very big topic for everyone. And I guess you have the same experience, but your customers want to do a lot of their daily tasks already directly on their mobile device. Might it be a smartphone or tablet, it doesn't matter. And the expectation is that customers nowadays want to have basically the information back as soon as possible. So they want to have an answer as fast as possible. They are not willing to wait a week or even longer in some situations. And your customers also want to have the choice how information and communication is sent to them. So they have clearly preferences, and that should be respected in your business processes here as well. If this is done right, you can offer a much more personal, not only personalized, but really personal and better customer experience and engagement with your customers. And those customers are typically much more satisfied if you're doing it in the right way and are willing to spend more with your organization, which increases, and I think that's in the interest of your organization, the share of wallet here. And not to forget, in the mobile world and with the speed of, I call it in the speed of digital, customers are also able and willing to do some kind of self-service. But your organization has to make sure that your customers are empowered really to do that. But what does going digital mean to organizations such as banks, credit unions, or other financial institutions by following their digital transformation agenda? Wouldn't it be nice to realize the benefits as outlined here on the screen by one of the analysts? So this is an example here about customer onboarding. And if done in the right way and eliminate the breaks and manual tasks in the process, you can see the profitability can be increased by over $200 here as outlined on the screen. And if you look, for example, into your onboarding process, there is a lot of communication going on, not only collecting information, but also communicating back to your customer. If we look at a bit more into the details, how can those profitability increases here really be realized? And here is another example, and even more detailed. And this is from another research team by the Boston Consulting Group in retail banking, where they took a closer look at the credit card application processing. And you can see the median numbers in banking here, where the number of applications per full-time employee per year is processed. Below that, you have the cost per customer and the income per customer. And with effective digitally transforming the back office processes, you can see the benefits resulting of that. So take a look at the applications per full-time employee here now on the right side that can be processed, and if the work of the knowledge workers basically here is more effectively here processed and supported with automation. And as you can see, the difference is really significant. So in processing by the volumes per full-time employee, but also the costs and the income per customer that takes place here. So is there an initiative in place in your organization for such benchmark comparison? I guess most likely yes. And if so, what benchmarks do your bank use to gauge its effectiveness here? So with the right tools in place, you can monitor this on a regular basis and identify very easily any trends. And customer communications management is a very important and integral part here of the entire process. Instead of some kind of, I call it a loose communication, which is not really controlled, how it looks like and how the content is compiled together, you're more effective and can track what works and what does not work with a CCM, so a customer communications platform here in place. So we have seen a few examples already, so for onboarding and credit card application processes here. But here's another overview about a few more processes or document types, if you want, that typically rely really on a communication-intensive process. So let's think about some customer-facing processes. And you can see here on the first line, some examples like quote, contract, statements. And you might know those very well, and I think you create them today as well. But some are more likely to be printed. Some information can be sent over to the customer via email, maybe leveraging in some situations SMS or text messages here, or even through your web portal. But there are also other document types and processes here, and there are more. And here in the second line you can see credit limit increase, refinancing, some correspondence going on, which you maybe haven't considered so far in this area. So again, highly communication intensive, especially in situations where information has to be provided in multiple cycles and so on. A lot of communications is going on. And a lot of organizations see here a lot of breaks in the process, which takes a lot of effort to complete here the entire process. And there are also some non-customer facing processes like employee onboarding, invoice processing, reporting, but also still important, and maybe this is out of your scope today. But again, very document and communication intensive processes. I just tried to bring them up so you can think about a lot of processes you might have already today where a central CCM or customer communications platform here makes sense. So there it would be absolutely, I would say, effective and efficient if you have one platform that can deal with all your communication needs here. And that's where the CCM platform comes in and can be integrated in all your communication intensive processes. So customer communications management here, or the manager here, takes data from your systems, uses intelligent templates, and produces your personal correspondence and documents. And you have already a lot of data in various systems. So you have a lot of business applications out there, but most likely not consolidated, as you have different core applications assigned to different departments or line of business responsibilities here. So a perfect customer communications management platform allows you to use all the data from the various systems to make sure you make the communication as personal as possible. And how that exactly looks like, we will see now. So let's get directly into the demo, and let me introduce you the first use case Jesper will show. So we will start with an on-demand communications, which is maybe very familiar to you. So you will see by a business application or by user, communication is triggered. And we will enrich this already by making sure we can use multiple channels in this communication as well. So Jesper, with that, over to you.
Great, thank you so much, Daniel. Okay, what were we talking about? We were talking about generating a personalized document. How is that typically done? Well, when we think about document generation, automated document generation, we think about high volume nightly batches. But with all the changes going on that Daniel just talked about, when I go online and I request a quote for a commercial loan, I want to receive that, well, the moment I press the button for submit. So what would happen right now? Well, we would get a request, you would send that to your document generation platform, and after a while, you would get a nice looking document, which would then be printed off, put into an envelope and shipped. And within a couple of days, I would get my quote. But as we were talking just now with the age of the consumer, you might want to do that in a slightly different approach and really taking the preferences of your potential customer in mind. So I'm just going to send out that document again. And we will, of course, get that nice looking document. But if I've done this online, why not get that straightly delivered to my personal portal? Or why not deliver that straight to Laura Wilson's inbox? Because when we talk about document generation, or actually the evolving of document generation into customer correspondence management, you are thinking about much more than just one document. You're thinking about a document pack. So you will have that commercial loan offer attached to that email or delivered on a portal. You would have that nice looking HTML email sent out. And Daniel, I know you've been a good boy up until now and you've got your phone turned off, but could you please have a look at your mobile for me?
Let me just open up. Yeah, I can see I received a text message. Oh, that's quite interesting.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I can't share it live, but I will take a screenshot of that one. But it says here, "Dear Laura, we have sent your documents to laura@customer.com. You can also find them on your personal portal, portal.bankrite.com." So that's great.
Excellent. Well, that's again using all the channels that we have available to us. I would like to ask you to keep this process in mind when we go forward. So what you've seen me do right now is mimicking your business application or your workflow that you run through when you're onboarding or sending out an offer. You've seen me send a request to Kofax CCM, and you saw me deliver that everything through multiple channels. Back to you, Daniel.
Okay, thank you. So let's go back to the slide deck. And what we have seen here basically is now in the commercial loan application use case here, the on-demand communications and omnichannel use of a customer communications platform. And as promised, here a quick screenshot, what I received on my smartphone here as well. So that's great. So just that you get an impression here how that could simply look like. Before we go over to the next use case, let me have some interaction with you as well. And I would like to bring up a poll at this point. And I would be highly interested from your perspective, who is managing your templates today? So if you have something like automated or maybe semi-automated correspondence going on already, who is managing your templates? So I would be quite interested to get your feedback. So is it IT? Is it maybe your line of business who is in charge of those templates already? Is it your marketing department? Think a bit, if you have a request to change something, who is most likely your contact person to get those changes done? So let's give you a few more seconds on that one. I can see answers are coming in. Okay, let's wait a few more seconds. Great, so thanks for all your responses. That's good.
A lot of marketing online.
Yeah, so let's share the results with the audience here. So that's great. So thanks a lot for your feedback. What I can see here is over 90% responded marketing is in charge of that very heavily. 9% it's about IT. And it changed a bit right now, a few percentages, but it doesn't matter. But it was close to 0 for business. Now it changed to 8%. So that's quite interesting. And I was somehow expecting this. So there is a big gap that people who are involved in processes corresponding with the customer, so the business users, can't do anything here to provide maybe the right content sometimes. And this is where people have to go back maybe to marketing or to IT to get changes done. And maybe you know this from your experience, how long does it take to get that? Wouldn't it be powerful if the business users can do some parts on their own to get things moving faster forward and not depending on others? Okay, so thanks a lot for that one. And let's go ahead with the next use case. And the next one will be about an interactive document composition. What it is, Jesper will explain, but here we will show you how we can now empower also the business users to provide content in the process of document generation. And we will show this based on the credit limit increase use case here. So over to you, Jesper.
Excellent. Thanks again, Daniel. Just wait for the... there we go. So I can now share my screen again. Okay, so let's go back. Let me close that real quickly. Okay, so Daniel already introduced the scenario a bit, but let's imagine the following. And let me really paint this picture for you. I was happy with the service I got, and I'm now a proud customer of Bankrite, but I want my line of credit increased. So what's the typical thing you do? You dial Bankrite, or you walk into a branch and you talk to one of their representatives, and they are working in their line of business application, maybe looking up some information from CRM. But at the end of that, you might want to send some sort of confirmation to your customer to inform them, okay, everything's taken care of, and thank you again for your trust. Again, we could do that in a fully automated manner. But when we talk about really personal and personalized correspondence, you will still need that human touch. So let's imagine for now that you are working in your line of business application, and you're working in a specific case. You just raised that credit limit, and there's a big red button there saying generate correspondence. And when you click that, you will see something that looks like this. So you will be presented with a list of available templates that are relevant at that time, for that case, and for that business department maybe. So let's select the line of credit increase letter. And this could, of course, be seamlessly integrated into your line of business application. So let's click that. And what we now see is something that already starts to look like a bit like a document. So you will see all the information pulled in from your backend systems. We are able to make some changes here if we want. Maybe because we know Laura likes to be addressed slightly different. How do you want to address the customer? You can actually update these fields on the fly and really add that personal touch. We can make a selection between available text blocks right now. And again, this template that we are working on right now is, of course, determining the choices that we had. And these templates are indeed managed by business users. No programming necessary. But let's switch it to familiar. And this part of the template has been marked as being editable to really personalize this document. From all of us at Bankrite, would like to thank you again for your trust. And we hope you will enjoy your new car. And I need to learn how to type. Terribly sorry for that. There we go. Save that. So we were able to change that, but let's say that this legal disclaimer, that's been locked down because you never want your line of business users to update something of a legal text. So let me just generate that document right now. And here we go. So really reflecting the personalized changes we made. And this would, of course, then be delivered either through email, either through physical posts, of course, that's still an option, and maybe dropped off at that portal so they could review it at a later time, and really follow the rest of your processes as well. So this would eliminate the need for Word templates on the work at the workplace, actually. So this is an introduction to interactive customer correspondence management. Back to you, Daniel. Sorry for that.
Okay, very good, Jesper. So yeah, that's very powerful. So you can adjust the content here on the fly if needed. So that's really great. So we talked about the interactive document composition. The last use case we prepared for you here as well is about I think you can easily imagine if you create some kind of documents, maybe contracts or something like this, at a certain point you need a signature on those documents. And very often organizations fall back into something like, yeah, I have to print it out, send it to the customer, and then get it later on somehow in our systems as well. But what about if we provide an end-to-end digital process? Wouldn't that be great by using also electronic signature here in this entire process? And what we have prepared here, and Jesper is showing this, is an internal use case, or not an internal, but a non-customer facing use case here, so that you can see one platform can handle here everything. But this time a contract of an employee, so a new hire process basically here. And with that, maybe over to you, Jesper.
Well, I need to wait a couple of seconds. Oh, there we go. I need to reconnect, so I need to wait until you receive the rights again.
Okay.
Terribly sorry for this. Maybe this would be...
That it is live, so it's
exactly.
It's really live.
Exactly. But I'm back in. So, hope everyone is able to see my screen again. So, again, let me paint a picture here for you. Bankrite has been so successful, using and leveraging that omni-channel approach, really personalizing their communication with their customers. So they need to hire someone new. HR processes and employee onboarding are, of course, everyone could imagine how that would look. So what I will do is I will show you how you can really negotiate a document, because you've seen me generating an interactive document. I've added that personal touch, but you might want to review that, maybe have an approval step. And of course, there's always a nice added bonus at the very end. So what I'll do is I'll log in as an HR case handler. Let's say I'm Michael Sweeney. And we will, of course, need to start an onboarding process. So this is typically something that will be triggered from your HR system. So, and I will do that right now by starting this and just filling in some details to start off the process. So let's do this again for Laura Wilson, Main Street 1. And just imagine this being pulled in from your HR system. Telephone number, something like that. Email address, laura@customer.com. And just notice sign digitally, and I will check that box. And let's create a new job. So right now that workflow has been kicked off, and now we just wait for something to pop up. Hey, I've got a new task assigned to me, compose a new contract, and that's been assigned to the whole group of HR employees. But I, Michael Sweeney, will pick that up. So we are presented with the next step for this workflow, and here you can already see the ease with which we were able to integrate Kofax CCM within something that already looks like a business application. So you have your business application, and you will have your interactive capabilities presented right here. So we can review the email address, we can already select the job description, so let's say a production manager. That's nice. And of course, this is all determined by the template. So here we can already see all the data points being pulled in. We need to answer some questions. So let's say the start date would be March 1st. We need to set the employee salary. Well, I'm in a generous mood, something like that. And again, parts of this document will be marked to be edited by the end user. So let's say job description should be senior production manager. Oh, that's nice. Okay, so I think this is Michael's job for now. So we can actually complete this step, and Michael could sit back and start to enjoy, well, his the rest of his day. But then let's go back in, and let's log in as Michael's supervisor, Sarah Jones. Sarah Jones is part of the HR supervisors group, and as you can already see, she's received another task. She needs to approve that contract that was just personalized by Michael Sweeney. and it's been assigned to the whole group of HR supervisors. So here we go. That's the document we just generated. And here you can see it's properly rendered, ready to be, well, to be delivered where we need to deliver it. So all the changes we made, and let me just quickly zoom in to make sure everyone can see this. The employee's job title is Senior Production Manager. That's the change we made. The salary is that. And everything else is just fine. There we go. Looks great. But then Sarah really starts to review this and says, well, I think this shouldn't be senior. That should be junior. Mike needs to be junior. And again, I need to learn how to type. There you go. So I will not approve this document. And we can, again, complete this step. Well, and you probably know where I'm guessing with this. We will log back in as Michael and see that he has, again, a composed contract step assigned to him. But, of course, you wouldn't want Michael to then redo all their steps. So you can already see all the choices and all the changes we made before are visible already. And if I zoom out a bit, Mike needs to be junior. There you go. So I'm able to make that change to that text block, change that to junior, and I'm terribly sorry, but I'll probably have to change that then as well. But the nice thing is we'll probably just give him 5 more weeks. 1 more week of holiday, paid holiday. Okay, so, and Michael's job is done again. Let's log back in as Sarah, and you probably know what she needs to do. She needs to approve that contract again. But right now, she will have the first version, so the senior one, the second version, the junior one with the updated salary, some extra vacation time there as well. And this looks okay. So she is glad to approve this document. Good job. And she can complete it. Okay. So this is for the HR department, everything they need to do. They can now just sit back and relax and trust the CCM platform to deliver this document where that new employee needs it. I need to go back to that first step. I checked that box was signed digitally, didn't I? Yeah, I did. So let's have a look at Laura Wilson's inbox, which will say, Dear Laura Wilson, please sign these documents. So she actually received an invitation online to sign her new HR contract. Okay, so this would be your landing page for your organization, completely styled, probably sitting within your portal, and where we are actually guided through the electronic signing process. So we need to agree to this consent text that we are indeed willing to sign this digitally. Just click next. And here we have that contract that we need to sign. It requires a signature. There we go. Just zoom out real quickly. So here we have the document in all its bank righty gloriness. There we go. And this is that spot where we need to sign. And in the interest of time, I'll just do this from my computer, but just imagine doing this on your iPad or on your mobile phone and really signing something. There we go. There are, of course, other means of authenticating this document. You could take a screenshot, you could take a selfie, or you could just electronically sign it with a certificate. Here we go. So right now, we've digitally signed that document, passed that back to the organization. We are, of course, as Laura, receiving a copy of that contract. And what you'll see is that the actual document is here, signed, and all signatures are valid. Just click that. There we go. So what I would like to do is, if you think back to that first step we did during this demo, series. That's commercial loan offer documents. Just imagine what will happen if you add this electronic signing capability to that document and to really close that loop. Daniel, back to you.
That was very impressive. So thank you, Jesper. So I think the only remark I can make on that one is I think you have seen you can stay completely digital with your process. And that's, I think, the key message here, what I would like to provide here on this place. So thank you, Jesper. Was very well done.
My pleasure.
So before we come to the end, just a few remarks and then some summaries what we have seen here, and just stay a few more minutes with us. So we will answer your questions for sure, and we have a nice offering maybe for you. So let's wait a few more minutes. So let me summarize here. What we have seen now are the different use cases here, which are outlined on the screen, where communications is typically here really involved. And to summarize this, there are the classic batch processes, as Jesper mentioned already, for structured output, for example, but also on-demand and interactive document composition scenarios, which you can find today in your organization. And one key statement we want to make here is, in order to have a real efficient CCM platform here in place, all those types of use cases, they should have or they should be supported on a single platform. And why is this important? Just a simple example. Think of the management of the templates. If you have different products in place, you have to maintain the templates multiple times throughout those products, or if you have developed something on your own, for example, as you typically end up also with different template repositories. So that's very often really a nightmare. You have to go through and make changes across the different products. And yeah, this could be a single change to the content. This could be a single change just to the layout. So we saw marketing very often is involved here, but they have to go back to several templates here as well. And this is quite costly and time intensive to do that. You can all avoid that by a single customer communications management platform here in place, which addresses really all your communication needs, and it works with a single repository. And it can be shared throughout the different departments if you have the according layout and so on defined. So similar also to that, what about user access roles and rights? All on a single platform makes it much easier to maintain the whole solution here and results in the lowest possible total cost of ownership as well. And with the proper customer communications platform here, you can achieve, I would say here, just on a high level, 3 very important goals. And number 1 here is breaking down the silos, which means that you have a lot of customer information in your systems already today, and using more customer data means you can be more specific and more personal in your communications. And I think this is what customers are looking forward today. They want to be treated as an individual and not as a group. And with Kofax CCM, as we have seen, we can easily connect to any of your business applications to use the information you need in your correspondence here. On the other hand, leverage all the communication channels such as email, SMS, print, web portal, mobile, or others as well, and let the customer change the way how they want to communicate with you. So their preferences should be recognized. Number 2 on this slide addresses the fact that, I would say a proper customer communications platform helps to reduce the manual effort, speed up the communication with your constituents. This might be not only customer, this might be also, like we've seen, the employee onboarding process and so on. And obviously, this improves the customer experience for your customers for sure, and it improves their satisfaction as well. And last but not least, for example, equip your sales force or customer-facing employees with tools to create a complete contract at the point of sales by really interactively creating the required documents, as we have seen from Jesper here, and even let them sign those in the next second digitally on the same device. So that creates a complete new experience for your customers and helps you to quicker complete the transactions here. I think that's key here. And I guess most of you have most likely some kind of a digital transformation strategy in place to address some key topics such as providing a consistent brand experience to your customers across all the channels and move more and more towards, I would say, also to digital channels. So eliminate most likely paper-based processes here and go more digital where possible. And on the other hand, investing in innovations is key as well to break existing trade-offs you might have today and provide value to your customer. I think that's important. I think closing the gaps between your systems and being able to access all your data and even enrich with external data. Keep this in mind as well. Yeah, that brings you a competitive advantage to improve the services and or the products you want to offer, and to manage the risks accordingly as well, because everything is centrally managed and controlled here. And most importantly, all of that without forcing to change your existing core business systems, because we understand they're important, we don't want to change them, but rather use and leverage those systems you have in place already and help you to quickly implement basically new business initiatives and be quicker also on the market with new products and services you're going to offer here. And I think I can keep this short on that end. So with a proper digital transformation strategy in place, you can really realize all the benefits now listed here on the screen. So from cost savings up through improved customer engagement and experience, up to the point to support you in your efforts to drive here really a better business performance. And I think throughout those demos, you have seen how the business users are supported in those processes here. So before we come to the end of the session and to the Q&A, let me offer you also at this point here really, I think, a great offering to you. So a 30 minutes one-on-one session with us, so with Jesper, myself, or other people, depending on your questions, where we go through that in more detail. And if you're interested in that, just let us know by completing at the end the survey. So whenever you drop off, complete the survey, and you can sign up there for a one-on-one session there as well. So I think if you have interest in that, sign up for that one, and we are more than glad to set it up together with you. With that, I think we can go over to the Q&A session.
My favorite part.
Okay. And by the way, I just found out I forgot one poll after the e-signature part, and maybe we can do this at this time and start answering first questions. So if it's okay, let's pull in the last poll we had in place, and I apologize for forgetting about that. Do you have an e-signature solution already in place? Is a simple question. Would be just curious to see if you have something in place or if not, and if you're looking maybe for that kind of things. So while we're going through the Q&A, feel free to answer that one. We'll keep this for a few more seconds open. And feel free to place now some questions.
Yeah.
Let's get started maybe with one of the questions now.
Yeah.
What do we have? Let's take that one. Is there a workflow to review any kind of template changes before the changes go live into production? So is there some kind, I think, what is the question about, 4S principle before any changes go live? Jesper, is this something you would like to answer?
Yes, I would love to do that. Well, in a proper CCM platform, it's all about reusability. So your documents are probably built up of reusable building blocks. Those building blocks would then, of course, well, depending on how you design your approval flow, will need to go through a couple of steps, just like you would have for your web content management. So you might have a staging environment, so you might need to have your supervisor sign off on that. But your CCM platform needs to allow you to have those approval workflows in that, and Kopax CCM is one of those CCM platforms.
Okay, yeah, thanks. I think that's very good and very important that this can be tracked at any time, what has been changed, yeah. In between, so I think we can close the poll now for the e-signature questionnaire, and what we can see here, the results is 70% said no, they don't have something like this in place, and 30% said yes. Okay, that's quite interesting. I expected that the majority is not using that, but keep this in mind, think about that. I know a lot of people have maybe legal questions on that, but there are certain processes where digital signature can be used already today. Okay, very good. Thanks for your feedback on that.
Splendid.
Let's take another question. that's maybe a good point, and maybe let's go through that once again here. Are the templates only managed by one department, for example, by IT? And yeah, yes, but do you want to step in on that?
Yeah. Well, just to grab back on my previous answer, where I said, well, everything is built up of building blocks. So, yeah, it might be that your legal department will take ownership and will be empowered to take care of all the legal text, like the disclaimer that was on the line of credit increase document. So you need a platform where legal can go in, make their changes, their legal changes, follow their own legal approval flow, and once everything is updated and published, that new disclaimer will appear on all documents that use that building block. At the same time, you might have your line of business users taking care of all the product-specific text blocks or building blocks for their specific product. So you really need to dive in and really really identify who the knowledge workers are, because the last thing you would want is print off a document, grab a rep marker and cross off, I want to change this, 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 and that, and then actually needing to go to a different department, and unfortunately most of the times it's IT, that will then need to do those exact same changes. That's a duplication of effort. So you want to empower your business users to be able to take ownership and follow those workflows for their document content.
Okay, thank you, Jesper, for that.
Of course.
I have one more, I think, which is also a quite good one. So how can I connect my business applications with the CCM platform here? So how can we make sure to get this connected?
I'm assuming that's another one for me then.
I think so, yeah, would make sense.
Well, Kofax CCM is, of course, it has numerous APIs, but as we are all moving towards a more service-oriented architecture approach to corporate infrastructure, CCM, of course, supports and is integratable through web services. We support a lot of APIs for data integration. Even the ones without APIs, we can unlock that information for you as well and use that in your templates. And of course, as I've already shown, it's extremely easy to integrate the interactive capabilities into your business applications as well.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks a lot for that as well. Okay, Jesper, is there anything else you can see? But I think we went through most of the questions here.
There were a couple of duplicates there. I hope I answered every one of them. If you think I didn't answer your question enough, please let us know. Well, maybe it's a nice thing if you want to know more about e-signatures. We have another webinar on in 2 days, really diving into electronic signatures as well.
That's a good point. Okay, thanks, Jesper. Okay, if there are no more questions at that point, so if we overlooked something, apologize for that one, just reach out to us and let us know. And again, please fill in at the end also the survey. But with that, I think I would like, to say thank you to everyone for the participation. And with that, hand over to Holly.
Great. Thank you so much, Daniel and Jesper, for sharing your expertise. You know, as a marketing leader myself, really found a lot of great information there and very user-friendly. So really an interesting solution. As Daniel mentioned, please go ahead and take that survey before you leave us today. We would greatly appreciate it. And then as a follow-up to today's session, you'll receive an email from BAI that will include a link to a recording of today's webinar. You know, this is a great opportunity to share with other people on your team or colleagues that you have who have a similar interest in this really important topic. So do encourage you to share that. And then you can also learn more about BAI and other thought leadership opportunities like we have on our website, which is bai.org. Again, thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you to Daniel and Jesper and Kofax, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye-bye.